أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد. Ulama, my elders, brothers, sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We thank Allah again for having given us this opportunity on this blessed night of Thursday together here and share a few ideas. I have always mentioned I'm not here to teach, but I'm here to share. Whatever I share with you, primarily it applies to me and I'm responsible to practice on it before anybody else here. But in sharing, I also get to learn, and it motivates me more to put these things into practice. Inshallah, if you find it useful, you can also put it into practice. And the ideas here are not mine. It is something that I have read, this little habit that I have. So inshallah, the topic for tonight is the qualities of the companions of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam in Karbala. So the main reason for studying these qualities, of course, history is one. Learning history, what happened, and that is what we've been hearing from the members and from the pulpits. But more importantly, ulamas tell us that in the present era, whereby we are awaiting the reappearance of our 12th Holy Imam, Imam Sahib al-Zaman, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu al-Sharif, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And we want our slogans in the mosque, our motto, our movement, our du'as that we recite on a daily basis or several times a day is to pray to Allah to enable us to be amongst the companions, the special companions of the 12th Holy Imam. So ulamas tell us that whatever happened in the past, a template was being presented. Nothing was a coincidence, nothing was unplanned, it's not something that happened randomly. There was a plan to set up a template for people to follow in the end of times. So sometimes when you see the hadith of the 11th Holy Imam, whereby he talks about the 5 qualities of a mu'min, and he presents the idea of ziyarat arba'in. The mu'min is one who also does the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah in arba'in. And now you see this movement that has picked up in these times when it is really needed. When I see the movement of who is Hussein, for example, they're doing a lot of work. So the whole idea is to take this message of Imam Hussein to every corner of the world, and then this template will be used to awaken people and prepare them for the reappearance of the 12th Holy Imam. This is the way ulamas explain it to us. So it's important to understand the qualities of the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, try to implement it, and it becomes a source of inspiration. It becomes a movement which motivates us to become better companions of the 12th Holy Imam. So every Thursday we recite Ziyarat al-Waritha. And one very heavy verse of Ziyarat al-Waritha, when we recite Ziyarat al-Shuhada, so not part of Ziyarat al-Waritha, but the additional ziyarat that we read. So there is ziyarat of Shuhada of Karbala. So So in that we say, فَيَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ مَعَكُمْ فَأَفُوزَ مَعَكُمْ. Would that I were with you, I could share the accomplishment with you. So we are telling the Shuhada of Karbala, I wish we were there with you so that we would share the accomplishment. It's a very heavy sentence. Just to give ourselves an idea as to what the situation was like. There's a book by the name of From Medina to Makkah, From Medina to Karbala. The name of the book is From Medina to Karbala in the words of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So usually we hear narrations, but this is written by a scholar, Ayatollah Muhammad Sadiq Najmi, and it has been translated in English. Sun Behind the Clouds publication has published it. So he has taken a different approach. He's collected all the sermons of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his conversations with individuals. He's compiled them and he's presented this journey from Medina to Karbala. And in that you see Imam's interaction with different people. There were ashab who couldn't join Imam from the time he left Medina to Makkah. Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, for example, who was the first Zayar of Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Arba'in. Or Abdullah bin Ja'far, because of old age. And then there were those who had come for Hajj, and they saw the Imam, and they heard the Imam, but they found Hajj to be more important than joining the army of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Then there are some who said, I have a small task to finish. Let me just finish it, then I will join you. Then there are those who told Imam, no, I can give you my horse. I'll give you my horse. I can't come myself, but I have a very good horse. I'll give it to you. There were those who even started fighting on the day of Ashura, and then they ran away. And then, of course, you have the Shuhada of Karbala, who stayed with the Imam right till the end. So, different categories, and there are more categories of people, but they've been mentioned in this book when you see Imam Hussein alayhi salam's interaction with these people. So, just to give you an idea as to what the times were like. So, look at this example. Al-Tarimma bin Uday and his associates, a few of them. They met the Imam in a place called Udayb. Imam was on his way to Kufa, and they met Imam in this place called Udayb. They were from Kufa. And he was very desperate, a very noble person, Al-Tarimma. He is talking to his camel in a poetic form. So the poetry has been mentioned in this book. That, oh animal, take me fast to this man, to this holy man. He was desperate to meet Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He understood the qualities of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So desperate to meet the Imam. He meets Imam in this place. So Imam meets him, greets him, prays for him, and then asks him, what is the situation in Kufa? So then he tells him that your envoy, Qais ibn Musahhar, has been martyred in Kufa. The hearts of the people of Kufa are with you, but the swords are against you. And Ibn Ziyad is really taken power and he's prosecuting people who are in your favor. Then he tells the Imam that, Imam, I request you, please don't go towards Kufa, because you're going to be defeated. He says, I saw a big army gathering in Kufa who are preparing to come and fight you. So I advise you, don't go to Kufa. And then he tells him, Yabna Rasulillah, let me take you to a place called Al-Ahba. Al-Ahba is where my tribe resides. I have a tribe. The name of my tribe is Al-Tay. The name of his tribe was Al-Tay. So he says, let's go to Al-Ahba It's a mountainous area. And he says, nobody has been able to reach our place. Nobody has been able to conquer this place. So I will take you to this place and it will be safe for you and your family. Nobody will be able to attack you because it's high up in the mountains. In fact, he says, once we reach there, I will motivate the people. We will have an army of 20,000 people. I can promise you to motivate people, 20,000 people who will fight with you. So you will be very safe. So look at the answer of the Imam. Imam says, I have promised the people of Kufa. I've already given them my word. And I cannot turn back from Kufa. Unless they turn back or they cancel their invitation. But I've already given them my word. So he prays for Al-Tarimma. And Al-Tarimma, look at it. See what he has to say. He says, after Imam having told him this, he's promised the people of Kufa and refused this offer of Al-Tarimma. So he says, I just have to go back to Kufa now. These are the words of Al-Tarimma. He says, I have to go back to Kufa. I have bought some food from my family. So allow me to go and live with this food, and I will come back and join you. He goes back to Kufa. On his way back, on the outskirts of Karbala, he's been given the information that the Imam has been martyred. Now this noble man, this small task of just going and delivering food to his family, which was also a noble cause, he missed the boat. He missed the boat. And it's heart-wrenching when you read stories like this. How close was he to be with the Imam? فَيَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ مَعَكُمْ فَأَفُوزَ مَعَكُمْ. I wish I was with you, but it's not an easy sentence. Okay? So this is one example. Second example. Ubaydullah ibn Hur al-Ju'fi. Second person. He meets Imam at Bani Muqatil. So Imam sent somebody to invite him. He was living in the same place. So Imam sends somebody. They go and invite him. He refuses. And then Imam himself goes to this man. Now this person was very sinful. He was not a noble personality. He was very sinful. Yet Imam goes to him. And Imam tells him that I'm giving you a chance to make up for your past sins. You join me. Join my army, you will make up for your past sins. So Ubaydullah tells the Imam that whoever will join you will be martyred. And I'm really scared of death. I don't want to die. And I feel by joining you, it won't make any difference. You're going to lose anyways. So I'm not going to add any value to your army. So he says, I have a horse called Al-Mulhaqa. I have a very fast horse. This horse, nobody has been able to run away from this horse. Whenever I've been chasing an enemy, I've always caught up with the enemy. And whenever I've been running away, nobody has been able to catch me. So I'm giving you this fast horse, you take it. It will be very useful for you in Karbala. Imam says, I don't want your horse. And he missed his chance. And he regretted later on. So this is the second example. A person was given a chance to make up for his past sins, missed the boat. Number 3, Amr bin Qais and his cousins. So they also met Imam in the same place. So Imam asks them, have you come to help me? And they say, no, we can't help you because we've left children behind and we've taken people's amana. So people have entrusted their properties to us and we have to return it back. And we have a lot of children to take care of. And we're not certain about your fate. We don't know whether you're going to be successful or not, whether you're going to win or lose in this battle. So it's not worth risking our lives for this cause. So Imam tells them, move away. Go far away so that you don't even hear the call of help that I'm going to give out. Amr bin Qais then got convinced. His cousins left and he got convinced. He says, I'm convinced by Imam's words. So he comes to the Imam, he says, I want to join you, but I have a condition. I will join you, I will fight with you, but the moment I feel that you are overwhelmed, that you are losing the battle, you will have to allow me to leave the battlefield. I will only fight with you if you are winning, but the moment I sense that you are overwhelmed and you're going to lose, I'm going to leave. Imam agrees. So this man was there in Taswa'ah on the night of Ashura. He was there in the camp of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. On the day of Ashura, he was there in the morning and he started fighting. They say he killed 2 enemies, he injured 1. But then he saw that the army of Umar Asad started cutting the legs of the horses of the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And he saw there were very few companions left with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So he comes to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He says, you remember my condition? I had set a condition with you. The moment I sense that you're going to be overwhelmed, I will escape. So do you allow me? And Imam says, yes, I allow you to leave. But how are you going to run away from here? He says, I had kept my horse in the tent. He had kept his horse in preparation. He climbs on his horse and he leaves Karbala. Can you imagine? He started the battle and then leaves. And he's chased by people, but because they knew him, they left him and he survived. But he missed the boat. So you can imagine there are people like this. On the day of Ashura, they started the fight and yet they ran away. Harthama, 4th example. Harthama was a close companion, not a close companion, a companion of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And he fought on the side of Imam Ali alayhi salam against Muawiyah in the battle of Siffin. So on the way back from Siffin, on the way back to Kufa, they were heading back to Kufa, and they passed by Karbala. When they reached Karbala, now he is narrating it. Harthama is relating this. He says, when we passed Karbala, Imam Ali stopped and he picked up the sand of Karbala and he smelt it. And then he says, people are going to be resurrected from this soil and they will enter paradise without being questioned. These are the words of Imam Ali alayhi salam, after smelling the scent of the soil of Karbala. Harthama heard this. He saw it, he heard it. In the event of Karbala, after so many years, in the event of Karbala, he happened to be on the side of Ibn Ziyad, of Umar Asad, on the other side. And on the day of Ashura, when the battle had begun, he remembers this incident. He says, I passed this place and I saw Imam Ali doing this and I heard his words. So he changes his mind. He crosses over to the Imam, to the side of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And he comes to Imam and he narrates the story. He says, I was with Imam Ali alayhi salam on the way back from Siffin, We passed by Karbala, he picked up the soil, the very soil, he smelt it. And he said, people are going to be resurrected from the soil who will enter paradise without being questioned. So then Imam tells him, are you with us or are you with your enemy? And Harthama says, I am with neither. I am not with you. I am not with your enemy. He says, I've left my wife and daughter in Kufa, so I need to go and take care of them. So Imam tells him, go fast, leave from here, so that you don't hear the cries of the martyrs and the cry of help that I'm going to give out. And whoever does not assist us after hearing the call will surely enter the fire of hell. These are the words of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So Harthama, after having heard Imam Ali, having heard so much, yet, I have my wife and my daughter whom I've left behind. Their security is worthier than the life of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. So the question is, where do we stand? فَيَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ مَعَكُمْ فَأَفُوزَ مَعَكُمْ. We say it so easily. Oh Imam, I wish we were with you. We also would have been successful. But these examples are all applicable to us. There is a small job. I have taken a bank loan which I need to clear. By me going there, it's not going to make any difference. Even if I do go there, who am I, It's not going to make any difference. In fact, I'm needed here more than I'm needed there. These are the common reasons that I would give. Looking for every reason to run away. And on the other side, you see the shuhada of Karbala. So when you hear the stories, that's when you value the ashab of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. All these questions must have gone through their mind. They ignored everything, knowing the Imam of the time. So they were the cream of the cream. And they were the best of companions. When Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, the companions that I have, nobody else had, these were the companions. And we see this being applied in the Iran-Iraq war, the shuhada that we have, if you read their biographies. I talked about Ali Chitsazian the other day and Mohsin Hujaji. Mohsin Hujaji had a son, a small son, and his wife. But the wife says he went to Syria, he came back, but he always wanted to go back. But he started distancing himself from us. Not distancing, but trying to detach himself from us. And when we told him why, he says, I'm trying to give up something for something better. Ali Chitsazian, his wife was pregnant with their first child. Yet, he tells his wife, pray for me, pray for my shahada. The wife prays, and he attains shahada. The baby is born on his 40th. On his 40th, the baby is born. So he never saw his first son. But these were the kind of people who had wanted to give their life, and they gave up everything behind. So what were the qualities of the ashab of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, which we need to inculcate to take us through this journey? They say it's a spiritually very difficult path. Being the ashab of the 12th Imam, it's a difficult task. And that's why it is compared to Karbala. The day of Ashura was no normal day. There was a lot of difficulty, but a template was created there. And that template needs to be applied today. So Sayyid Basam Tabar, in his book called The Untold Secrets of Karbala, which I had brought last time, in his last part of the book, the last chapter, he talks about the 17 principles of accompanying the Imam of the time. And he takes these principles from the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So I thought I will choose 5 from 17, just randomly. But then I realized he's presented them in sequence. So it's just like the criteria for spouse selection. When you're looking for a spouse, there's a criteria of 5 criteria. First is faith, Iman. If the Iman is not good, don't even go to the second criteria. You stop there. Look for somebody else. Of course, your Iman also is good to be good. If Iman is good, then you see the akhlaq. If akhlaq is good, then you go to rationality. If rationality is good, then you see the family. And then you go to criteria number 5. So there's a sequence. So he's presented the same sequence. So criteria number 1, if you qualify, then you go to criteria number 2. If you qualify, criteria number 3, till criteria number 17. So there's a sequence. So, the first criteria, life is journey. It's a journey. So it's a path from a lower spiritual station to a higher spiritual station. From being a physical being to a spiritual being. We talked about the different types of nafs, nabatiya and haywaniya and aqliya and ilahiya, the different types of nafs whereby you graduate from one nafs to the other. So the vegetative soul, and then you have the animalistic soul, and then the intellectual soul, and then the universal godly soul. So life is a journey. Ayatollah Khamenei says, Shahadat is on the peak of a mountain. Everything else is on the slope. So whatever we do in life, you are climbing. And if you're successful, you reach the peak, that's when Shahada is granted to you. So it's a path, it's a journey. When a person is climbing a mountain, never do you see them going back. They are always going towards the peak unless they're sick. Altitude sickness, they can't handle it, conditions are really bad, then you see them going back. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الإنسان إنك كادح إلى ربك كدحا فملاقيه. O man, surely you must strive to attain your Lord, a hard striving until you meet Him. So when I look at myself, I have failed in the very first criteria. There's a hadith of Imam Ali alayhi salam whereby he says, a person, I'm paraphrasing, a person whose today is worse than yesterday is surely in a state of loss. The whole idea being that we should always be in a state of progress. Our tomorrow should be better than today. It's striving. This was one of the first characteristics of the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Not only that, but then he talks about the journey of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and the companions. He says the journey of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, there was an external journey and there was an internal journey. The external journey, of course, was from Medina to Masjid al-Haram in Makkah towards Karbala. Internal journey was from his own soul to the universal soul, to Allah's soul, to Allah's existence. So he says Masjid al-Haram is the center of spiritual safety, and Karbala is the center of divine beauty. So you're going from spiritual safety to divine beauty. This is the journey. So an external journey and an internal journey whereby you're uplifting your soul. So everybody has got to be in a state of journeying towards their Lord. So when I look at myself, so many times it happens that we've made some spiritual progress and the very next day or the very same day we slip and we go back. If we have this habit, then فَيَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ مَعَكُمْ is a very difficult statement to attain. Yes, we may utter it, but the very first criteria makes it very difficult for us to be included in the army of the 12th Imam. We should always be in a state of progress. And it's doable. When we read the biographies of Shuhada of our time, when you see their lives, how they would monitor themselves, it's amazing. So it's doable, but here I am slipping all the time, makes it very difficult. So this is criteria number one. Number two, if you have qualified now to journey towards your Lord and you're not slipping back, every single day there is progress, every single day there is progress, moment by moment there is progress, then criteria number two is being amongst the Ahl Batin. So there is Zahir and there is Batin. Science is based on your five senses. Whatever you see exists. But there's an extra dimension. Being Ahl Batin, spiritually uplifting yourselves, tearing the veils to be able to see what is behind the veil. So you become Ahl Batin. All the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the ones who were martyred, were Ahl Batin. They could see, and the biggest difference on the day of Ashura between the army of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and Umar Saad's army was this. They were Ahl Zahir, these people were Ahl Batin. Umar Saad just wanted the mulk of Rai, the five senses, the pleasures of this world. And these people, in spite of being overwhelmed and facing death, but they had seen the unseen. And then you have phrases like, death is sweeter than honey. This is when it comes out, because you've seen the batin, the hidden world. So this is the second criteria, but it only comes if there is spiritual progress. The famous advice of Imam Khomeini, I just remembered it, and I just hope I get it right, from his teacher. And it was taught to one layman. I think Sheikh Murtaza Zaidi also mentioned it in one of his lectures, and I read it somewhere also. He says, you do three things and you'll see surprising things in your life. Ahl Batin. Three things. Number one, I think, was praying on time. Awwal waqt. Pray on time. Number two, pay khums on a monthly basis. And three, in business, keep your prices the lowest so that you don't exploit people. I'm paraphrasing. He says, you practice these three things, you will see wonders in your life. And this man says, within 2 months, I went to the mosque and the things that I saw, and he describes it. So Ahl Batin. It's doable, but only if spiritually there's some practices that you have to go through. So that's criteria number two. Number three is choosing the right companions in life, being in the right company. So if you're in a state of journeying, you've made an intention and you're moving, definitely the veils, spiritual veils will be open in front of you, but make sure you are accompanied by like-minded people around you. And you see the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They were all like-minded, the same mindset. They were pulling each other, they were attracting each other. And to make use of the spiritual energy, so when you go and visit ulama or a spiritual person, we get attracted, and then there's a spiritual aura which we take from there and it energizes us. Just being in the presence or hearing their words, their wise words, or being around the right company energizes us to do something, better things in life. And on the other hand, if you're around people who are worldly, who are just zahiri, it pulls you down, it drains you. You're sitting in a gathering where a ghibat is going on, or music, and it just drains you. it just takes you back. You don't see progress in life. And he talks about a spiritual formula here. He says, in the normal world, a student has got to look for a teacher. In the secular world, you have to look for a teacher to teach you in the secular world, all the secular subjects that you discuss. Or in the medical world, for example, if you're sick, you have to look for a doctor. But it says in the spiritual realm, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It's the other way around. The teacher will always look for the students. He says that's the proven formula. So if the student prepares himself, he starts journeying, the teacher will appear. But having the right company around us will automatically attract and will be in a group whereby we encourage each other. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. This is number 3. Number 4, upholding a correct worldview. This is criteria number 4. And this is, when I was reading this, I remembered Sheikh Sakaleshwar, his lectures, may Allah bless him and increase his knowledge. The topics that he's been picking up, his lectures on Tawheed, for example, in Zanzibar, life-changing. If you listen to the way he described Tawheed, amazing, mutually exclusive, mutually inclusive, and the example of a thread and a piece of cloth, and amazing. We are all nothing but God. We are nothing. We are made of godly material. This is Tawheed. It's not only believing in one God. God, we are made up of godly substance. That is Tawheed. And if you understand Tawheed, we look at life differently. And then the second series, which was talked about from this very podium, the concept of Imam. How do we look at an Imam? Is he just a leader, or there's something more to an Imam? What are the duties of an Imam? What is his status? Atiullaha wa atiur Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. The status is very high. The concept of tawassul, it's a worldview. And if it's understood properly, so Tawheed and Imamat. So he says, this was the biggest difference between the two armies. The companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the way they looked at the Imam, they understood his status and thereby decided never to leave him. They say, even if you are killed 70 times and resurrected, we'll still be with you. These are people who understood the state of an Imam. And there's nobody who had understood the state of the Imam more than the fourth Holy Imam and Bibi Zainab on the plains of Karbala. So the gham, the sorrow of seeing Imam Hussein alayhi salam martyred was most in the heart of Bibi Zainab alayhi salam and the fourth Holy Imam. Now you're seeing an Imam being martyred. He's not just a human being martyred, but it's an Imam who is being martyred here. And lastly is allegiance. Number 5. Of course, there are many criteria after this. But after having gone through these stages of being in a state of journeying, being Ahl Batin, always concentrating on things behind the veil. You know, when we discuss marriage in the marriage board, when couples come to us, and this is Sheikh Khalidina's formula. When the couples come to him and he tells them, you pray. Now you do one thing, you go and pray. For the next 2 weeks, just pray on time, establish prayer and see what it does to your relationship. In reality, there is no relationship if you go to see. Where is prayers and where is marriage? But yet, Ahl Batin, Zahiri, there is nothing. But behind the veil, there is a deep relationship between Salah and marriage. So being in a state of journeying, not falling back. Number 2, being Ahl Batin, always concentrating on things behind the veil. Number 3, having the right people around us, the right teachers and the right companions. Number 4, having the right worldview. Only when we've reached this stage, now we give the allegiance to the Imam of the time. We give him our allegiance, which is never to be taken away. So, أين سبب المتصل بين الأرض والسماء? In Dua Nutbah, when we recite, where is the reason that connects the earth and the sky? So he mentions, Basim Tabari is a very good writer in this book. And if I start explaining it, I'll just spoil the fun. If you go and read the way he describes who is an Imam, how the lower vegetables, they want to get higher, so they sacrifice their lives to be eaten by the animals. And the animals want to rise, so they sacrifice themselves to be part of the human body to reach an elevated status. And how the human sacrifices himself to get to a higher level of being with the Imam of the time, and then the Imam sacrificing himself to be with Allah. He explains this whole sequence, and this is allegiance, giving your life now for the Imam. So these are the 5 criteria, and of course there are a few more, but I just thought of choosing these 5, and we went through the examples. Hopefully it's given us a general idea as to where we stand. Every Muharram, it's a time for us to reflect on ourselves. That yes, we weep and we cry, and we should. This is the first stage. But it's a time for assessment as to where do we stand. If we were there, فَيَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ مَعَكُمْ. If we qualify there, then definitely we'll qualify when the 12th Holy Imam comes. If we don't, by looking at these examples, then there's a lot of work to be done, at least for myself. Inshallah, may Allah give us the tawfiq to be able to put these teachings into practice, inshallah, raise ourselves, and of course to be the companions of the 12th Holy Imam, inshallah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.